All right, so the ways that we kind of prevent infection is using vaccines. So your immunity depends on the persistence of these different types of memory cells. And there's two different ways in which we become immunized. We either have active immunity or we develop passive immunity. So the active immunity, this is immunity by a natural exposure to an infectious agent. So in other words, when we get the chickenpox, we get them, but now we're basically immunized to getting the chickenpox for the rest of our lives. We may develop shingles, which is an adult form, but that's something different from the standpoint of, if our children have chickenpox or our siblings have chickenpox and we've already had them, then we're not going to get them again. The active immunity can also come from getting an immunization. In other words, you go get your shot, and when you're getting your shot, you're going to develop an immunity to whatever you got the shot to. Passive immunity now, this is where you take antibodies from someone who is immune to someone who isn't. So you take somebody who's been sick, they've got different ways where they can take the blood, they can spin it down with a centrifuge, they can extract the antibodies from the particular individual that had the illness, they can inject those antibodies into somebody, and now they're immediately available to attack someone who's potentially going to be exposed to something that makes them sick. So the passive is you're going to take antibodies from one individual and give those to another individual, okay? And they use different types of organisms to do this sort of thing, like a rabbit or a chicken or a horse or something like that. So now, as far as like immunology goes and vaccines and things, Edward Jenner was an English physician in the late 1700s, and what he noticed was that milkmaids who had contracted cowpox, and these are just, pox sores basically on the udders of cows, but the milkmaids that got them, the ladies who were milking the cows, they were immune or resistant to getting smallpox. So this is what a cowpox sore might look like. So you get these sores on the back of you, but eventually they go away, and similar to chickenpox, just these open sores that are with viruses that cause momentary or periodic discomfort until you get rid of them. But what made Jenner, I guess well known now is something that would never fly in today's society. But what he did was, because he noticed that these people who were exposed to the cowpox were immune to the smallpox, he took a boy, scratched his arm, a healthy boy, scratched his arm with cowpox sore and fluid and gave him cowpox. And then, what was highly unethical now, or what can be considered unethical now, is he exposed the boy to the smallpox virus, and the boy was immune. He did not develop smallpox, and it's good that he didn't, because this is what a child with smallpox might look like. So that's what could have potentially happened to him if he had not become immune from the smallpox, okay? But what Jenner's work basically did was it pioneered the science of vaccination. In other words, it opened up a new door in the science of biology, and kind of was important in looking at different types of antigens that are triggering your immune system, and doing so in a way that the natural exposure would, without the consequences of being naturally exposed to the particular disease. Okay? So in the next talk, we're going to talk about monoclonal antibody production. All right, so write down any questions you have, and we'll see you soon.